Moshe Rabbeinu occupying the spotlight these parshios and well beyond. He's performing miracle after miracle. Obviously, as we begin the process of the Makkos that's triggered the Geula from Mitzrayim, how does he perform these Makkos? Again, without getting into the first three, he performed Ayidei Aaron because of the Akar Satov. He needed to display vis-a-vis the Mayim and the Ofar. But he does the miracles Ayidei the Mateh Shel Moshe. What a gewaldige Zach. What's the story, the history in this Mateh Shel Moshe? So we have a well-known Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Let's turn first with Siyata Dishmai to Per Chamishi. And Pirkei Avos, Mishnah Vav. State in Mishnah Asar Dvar Nivru Be'erev Shabbos Bein HaShmoshes Ve'Elohein. 10 things were created Erev Shabbos during Sheshes Yemei Bereishis as we transition from the 6 days of creation to the 7th day of Shabbos Kodesh. And that's quasi-chol, quasi-kodesh Tekufa. Mr. Yemes called Bein HaShmoshes, as the Maral explains in his Derech Chaim here in Pirkei Avos. We have a stage that's Kilu, stage that shares qualities and characteristics of the Sheshes Yemei Achol, at the same time as it's characterized by a Bechina of Shabbos Kodesh. That's Bein HaShmoshes, the bridge that links together the Sheshes Yemei Bereishis to Shabbos, which is Bechinas Kodesh. We have this stage, quasi-chol, quasi-kodesh, and those 10 things that are created in that Kufa Mr. Yemes in that specific time clearly are also going to have characteristics of both in Yonim Shechol and Yonim Gashmiyim, as well as in Yonim Shekodesh, Dainu and Yonim Ruchoniyim. And what are these 10? Pia Aretz, Pia Ber, Pia Osam, Keshes, Via Amon, Via Mateh. What is this Mateh? This is the Mateh Shel Moshe. All the Rabbi Yonah tells us is the Mateh Shel Moshe She'asa Boas Ha'osos. This is the staff with which he performed all the signs, the miracles. Rashi adds a bit more. Zok the Heilige Rashi VaMateh Shel Moshe Shebo Shema Mefurish Chokuk. You had the Shema Mefurish that was chiseled and engraved into the top of this Mateh, and it was Munach Va'aymed Nitnu LeMoshe until it was given over to Moshe. This is not the Mateh Shel Aaron. That's a separate Mateh. Lozo Mateh Aaron, not everybody learns this way, but the Mateh Shel Aaron L'Chaira was distinct. Dag Sive Shem Aaron Tirtav Mateh Levi B'Yevsha Shekosevo Shem Aaron V'Chulei. So the Rashi is telling us that it was Munach until it was ready for Moshe Rabbeinu's usage. Now, what is the history of this Mateh? It's a well-known Pirkei of Lazar in the 40th chapter. It's a Yalkut Shimoni as well. Rabbi say, listen in, it's a gewaldige Zach. Rabbi Levi Omer, Hamateh Shenivra Bein HaShmoshes, this Mateh, which the Maral told us, based on the Mishnah, we see it was created Bein HaShmoshes on Friday afternoon. It had qualities of Chol, qualities of Kodesh. You might look at it at first glance, it looks like a regular, mundane, materialistic staff, but yet it possessed the miraculous qualities in Yonim Shel Kodesh and Yonim Shel Lamayla Menateva. And what's its history? Rabbi Levi tells us as follows. This Mateh that was created Bein HaShmoshes, so where did it go? God made it in the first week of creation. Nimsor li Adam Arishan V'Gan Eden. It was given to Adam Arishan. Adam gave it over to Chanoch. Chanoch gave it over to Noah. Noah gave it over to Shem. Shem gave it over to Avram. Avram gave it to Yitzchak. Yitzchak gave it to Yaakov. That's the Makli. Avarti Yisayardin Azeh. Avram Mesor li Yitzchak. So it was given to Yitzchak. Yitzchak gave it to Yaakov. Yaakov Haridu l'Mitzrayim Mesor li Yosef Beno. And it was given over to Yosef. Now there is another Yalkut. The Otzer Plius mentions it in the footnotes. There is a Yalkut Shimoni in Parshas Chukas that says Yehuda was also Hishtamish b'Mateh Hazeh, and that was the Mateh that he gave over to Tamar, his daughter-in-law. Kachas Mateh v'chulei. So you see that Tamar also had it for a time, but the Pirkei Elazar says nothing about Yehuda. Rather, he gave it over to Yosef, his son. Kshemes Yosef, what happened? It was taken into the house, given Nitan Paltar and Shaparo. It was placed somewhere in the palace of Paro, and Yisro, who was one of the Chartumei Mitzrayim, was chomed. He says, I got to get my hands on this miraculous staff. So says, I want it. So what am I going to do? So he envied this staff. He stole it, took it with him, planted it into his garden in his backyard. He stuck it into the ground, and nobody could take it. Why can nobody take it? Right? The Taisus Hasholem. What's the reason why no one was able to pull it out? Right? The Bali Taisus, because also Hamakil, that's the Makil Shanos and Yaakov, the Yosef Yamakil Yotzi Mimenu Eish. There was a burning fire that was coming out of this. Moshe saw the Shema Mefurish. Writes the Bali Taisus. Moshe saw the name of Mefurish and he saw the Esamakis. Korah Osios Vehevietzel. He didn't even have to pull it out. He just read the writing on the wall, read the writing on the Mateh, and the Mateh came to him. Again, that's not the Pasha. So what happened here in Prickelazer? Roas Mateh, nobody could get even close to it. Shabbat Moshe Lebeso, Nichnas Legan Beso Shel Yisrael. Pashas, he didn't come into the house. There's a Bayis Molei Avodah Zorah, but he goes into the garden. Veras Mateh Vekoras Osios Sheralav. He read the Osios, but then the Sholach Yodu Lekocha. Nobody could pull it out. I say years ago I wrote an essay. It's a long story, but I wrote an essay when I was studying a little bit about Arthurian literature surrounding the legends of King Arthur in legend and literature. And you have all the stories, the sword and the stone, Excalibur. How does the whole story start? He's the only one, the sword and the stone, who can pull out the sword from the stone. So I wrote an essay, all the stories and legends about King Arthur that made him famous, they were all taken from Chazals, whether about the Moshe Feiner, the first true Melech, or about David Machisol, the real once and future king, the David Machisol, Chai V'Kayim. Where does it come from? Excalibur. So where does he get the sword? King Arthur, this young boy, pulls out the sword from the stone when nobody else was able to pull it out. Where does it have its shorish? They got it from this medrash. It's a Yankut. We have Kamarayas that Chochmei Umas Olam had Shaykhis to Menroshe Chazal. They got it from this medrash. The Yankut Shimoni, the Perkel Lazar, Moshe Benu is the only one who could pull it out. Yisro says the only one who could pull it out, he's going to be the one to marry my daughter. Sholach Yodo L'Kocha Ra Yisro. So as Moshe V'Amar is the also legal as Yisomi Mitzrayim the Fikach Noselo Sipora Bito Leisha. I'm going to give him the prize. V'Chula. He's the one. I want to be his shver. I got to be his father-in-law. So this was a staff when you have Rashi telling us the Shema Mefurish was Chokak. It was Munach. Of course it was Munach. It was there in the garden of Yisro until somebody could come along and take it, and that person was Moshe Rabbeinu. If you look, however, in Targum Yonasam Rizio, he adds a little bit to it. In Parsha Shmos, Targum Yonasam Rizio says, "Kasher Hikaruah Kiborach Moshe." As part of what happened, he threw him into the bar. And Tzipora, his daughter, was Mafaris Moshe in the bar for 10 years. Afterwards, he takes him out of the bar, puts him into the God, and Moshe was Modim Espalo for Hashem for all the miracles that he did. And he sees this Makel, he sees this Mateh that was never made a Shmos. It's V'Chokung Mefurshal of Hashem Agodov Anechbad, with which also Lassus is in a flows Mitzrayim, and he was going to split the Yamsuf, and he was going to take the Mayim in Asela, and it was their notes Besochagan and Miyad Hoshit Yodu Lukacho, stretched out his hand. It's not stam that he called out to it, read the writing on the staff, and then miraculously it came to him. No, he stuck out his hand and pulled it to it. And he have a kacho Moshe l'shem samesh v'yitin es tzipora bas bito bas beno. A question of whether it was his real daughter, and he gave her over to Moshe Rabbeinu. That's the Targum Yonasam Nazil Parsha Shmos. Rabbi said, listen to this Targum Yonasam Nazil later on in Parsha B'Shalach. Moshe uses the same Mateh to split the Yam. Vayet Moshe yodu olayam. State in Pasuk B'Shalach. What does it say? Vayet Moshe yodu olayam yolach Hashem v'chulei. Writes the Targum Yonasam Nazil. I'm going to read to you from the Yein Atov, the Hebrew translation. Vayet Moshe yodu olayam b'mateh hagodo v'hanechbon shenivra mi betchila. Well, it's me, Betchila, it's Perkei Avos, Perkei Mishnavav, Betchila, Beina Shmoshes, in the beginning of the world. Both Chokuk Mefurish Shema Godov Anechbon, Ve'aseres Osas, like the Bali Atosis as well, and not only the Shema Mefurish, but it also had the Tzach Adash Biachav. That's why the Bali Atosis say, Makas Arba, the famous Kashan Ramban at the beginning of Parshas Bo, how in the world did Moshe Rabbeinu know to tell Paro the next Makkah in line is going to be Arba? Hashem never tells him in the Pesukim the next Makkah is going to be Arba. Zok the Bali Atosis, and the Tosis are showing, because you looked at the staff, and the next letter in the Tzachanash Bechav, Rabbi Yinosim Mem Simonim, after Makkah's Board is an Aleph. What's the Aleph stand for? The only plague Moshe could come up with that starts with an Aleph is Arbet. So that has to be how it's Makkah's Arbet. Either way, you have the Aser Sosa, Sharhikas, which adds the Targum Yonasam Nazil, which Rashi didn't add, what he didn't add earlier in Shemais, writes the Targum Yonasam Nazil, along with the Shema Mefurish Hagol of Anechbon, along with the Tzachadash Bechav was what? Shloshes Avos Olam, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov's name was also, there's Dr. Tony Azil, the Sheshes Ahimos, the Sihab of a fella. Rabbi said, when do you ever see the Sheshes Ahimos? Whatever the Gemara Brachos, Tezayin and Beis, Ain't Korn Ovas Ella the Shloisha, Ain't Korn Imos Ella Liarbo. Here you have a Tony Azil, this is Tony Azil. Megillah Dav Gimel Menalef is Dazeya Olam, Dalet Meas Parsa, Dalet Meas Parsa. This is the one, Sukkah Chalches Menalef, Kol Ov Sheparech Olam Yanisra. He's Megala Sisrei Torah. Not only was the Shem HaGodol HaNechbad Chokuk on the Mateh Shel Moshe, but you also had the Tzach Hadash Bechab. You had Avram Yitzchak in Yaakov's name. You had Sheshes Amos. I mean, it's not just so Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. You had Bill and Zilpah as well. Ushnei Masa Shifte Yaakov. You also had the names of the Shvatim. And that's the Mateh with which he split the sea. This miraculous Makkah. Hafla of a fella adds the Otzer plus a Torah. We have it to first Yisrael on Novus. The first Yisrael, who at the first Yisrael in the Medrash Shmuel, others also learned somewhat similarly, different nuances, but similarly to the Maral. They were talking about a staff that's quasi Gashmi, quasi Ruchni. Shtickle of Yemei Chol, shtickle of Yemei Shabbos Kodesh. Answer to first Yisrael that was follows. Even after he said the Shema Mefurish, he called out the name and it comes to him, or he extends his hand and he pulls it out when no one else is able to pull it out, right? So it's the first source Machadesh, that until the Eibishter told him, he wasn't aware of the power, the potency that was latent to there and that the Mateh. Hashem Yisbarach had to tell him the Gavaldike Koyach that this had. I and the Ran also in Droshes Haran and the Shemini, this is the Mateh. It was also in proximity to the Sned and absorbed the Kedusha from the Shechina by being mamish within Dalet Amos, so the Shechina had absorbed these extra powers as well. But the Lamaisa, that's the power of the Mateh Shel Moshe. Adds the Otzer plus a Torah. Half of a fellow, there's a Ritva in his Perush on the Godosh Pesach. And the Ritva says, the Mateh Shel Moshe Yorlo Min HaShamayim, Shenes Galalo Kershu Chabalabas Eish Mitoch Hasem Bar Chorev. Not like the Ran, that it was a Mateh that was on the ground in proximity to the Gilo Yashchina by the burning bush, by the Sneh Bor Beish. But writes the Ritva, it was Yorlo Min HaShamayim. Again, different Chazals, Medrashas Chalukas, but we're talking about a Mateh had Kochas Ruchoniyim. Then he cites the Medrash Nolam, Shemoshe Rabbeinu Nota Lamateh Eitz HaChaim Shev Gan Eden. The Imamish took it from the Eitz HaChaim in Gan Eden. The Yaakov Shimoni says, quoting the Divrei Yom Shemoshe Rabbeinu, Kosa de Barpela, Kasher Chora Apol Shel Paro B'Moshe V'Rotzel L'Hargo, Baruch Moshe Mibeis Paro Mitzrayim, Umatal Shel Yosef B'Yodo. So you have the Yaakov Shimoni and the Perkulos and Perkmem that says the Yisro was Chomeid Belibo, the Mateh Shel Paro, that he had a Paltaran Shel Paro. He stole it, put it into his backyard, stuck it into the ground. He could never use it. It was Munach until Moshe Rabbeinu would go in and take it. Either being Moshe Chesyoda pulling it out when no one else was able to pull it out, or he said the Shema first was able to go in and take it. But you have here a Yaakov Shimoni, Hapla fellow Remes Kum Samaches, quoting the Divrei Hayam of Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moshe Rabbeinu, when he ran out, he knew what was going on inside the palace. He was the prince of Egypt. He knew where to find the goodies. He didn't want the gold and silver. What did he want? He wanted the Mateh Shel Yosef that Paro went and took, and he grabbed the Mateh Shel Yosef. He said, "When Rosh Chalokus, where in the end he got the Mateh," adds the Otzer plus the Torah, according to Barbanel and Parshat Beshalach, what happened to it after Moshe Rabbeinu performed all these miracles? Writes the Barbanel, it was buried together with Moshe Rabbeinu. That was his staff, and nobody else was ever to use that Mateh Shel Moshe. So Hafla fellow, wherever you're going to say, either he took it from the Eitz HaChaim in Gan Eden, or was Lamaisa came from Gan Eden, given to the Mauritian, part of the Messiah, makes its way to Moshe Rabbeinu. How it did, you have all these different shittas in Rosh Chazal. But the Maisa, what do you see? You see that all these osis and mosim, it was performed al yedei, the medium, the conduit of the Mateh Shel Moshe. Mateh Shel Moshe. Sometimes it was called Mateh Lukim B'Yodi, as we see in Mechamas Amalek. He tells Yeshua Mateh Lukim B'Yodi. So it's a din in the Meforshe HaMikra talk about when it's called Mateh Shel Moshe, when it's called Stam Mateh, when it's called Mateh Lukim. That's something the Rishonim deal based on various contexts. But Lamaisa, you walk away from all this and you see what? That big things were done, even the splitting of the Yam. Al Yedei Mateh Shel Moshe. So what do you need it for? What do I need this miraculous staff? I understand, just Moshe Rabbeinu. He said, just tell me, Moshe Rabbeinu. He's a shliach of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. He's doing a Aliyah. So when he did the osos by the burning bush. What does the Eibishter tell them? Yes, first you're going to take a stick, throw it onto the ground, and turn it to a snake, and then snake back to a stick. Hand into Mateh back. And then what? Stick your hand into the water, throw throw it down onto the ground, it's going to turn into blood. What do you need the staff for? Just like by the third os, which is the ultimate clincher, the Makah Patish for Hayya, if they're not going to believe the Kol Os Arishon, they believe Kol Os Achron. If not, then go in and do this one. So what do you need the staff? What's the lesson in the staff? The Feiner is 90. When you put it all together, this miraculous staff, which the Maral told us in Derech Chaim and Ovos Heivov, that it had quasi-ruchni, quasi-gashmi status, the Feiner is 90. We have to walk away from Sibet Tzias Mitzrayim, and this is one of the big lessons. The famous Ramban in the end of Parshas Bo. What Ramban tells the end of Parshas, we think, miracles, it's all Gavalik, Nisim, Lamaylam, and Ateva. You know what? And we lose sight. We need them to remind us sometimes everything that happens every single day. How do you have seeds going into the ground and coming out and producing plants and trees and vegetables, fruits? The entire world, the sun, the moon, every single thing that happens in the Olam HaTeva, as the Meshach Tzemach used to say, even the Olam HaTeva is l'mayla min HaTeva. Everything is l'mayla min HaTeva. Everything doesn't make sense. It's all the Borei Olam. So what better lesson to capture the essence than what? Here you have a Mateh, l'chayra in the four classifications of the Bria, in ascending order. You have Domeim, Tzemech, Chaim, Medaber. You have Domeim, Kuzari, Maimer Beis. You have Yisrael. You have Malach, Elyon. And at the end of the day, you start with Domeim. What's Domeim encompassing therein? Still lifeless, silent matter. What better entity that captures the essence of that, the lowest form of the Bria, than what? That's something that has Tzomech and Domeim captured within it. That's something that was growing out of the ground. Now it's just a Mateh. It's just a Mateh. It's still lifeless. It's a piece of wood. It's a piece of wood. And what? You could take a piece of wood and you could go out and have a Dover Hagashmi Biyoser. You could have a little stick that has no purpose. It's not even growing anymore. When it's a chelik of the tree, that's one thing. It can produce peiros. What do you have here? You have something that's a Domeim Ba'alma that has nothing. It's never going to produce. It's an Eitz Yavesh. And yet what? You could take this Eitz Yavesh and it's not producing any peiros. It's not attached to any roots in the ground. No nourishment, no sustenance. It's just a stam piece of Domeim. And what can you do? You can produce al yedei this miracles l'mayla min hateva. Rabbi said, what a lesson that Klal Yisrael looks and they see, well, it's not just this amazing person, Moshe Rabbeinu. We have no shaykhs to that. Moshe Rabbeinu, yeah, okay, he's turning water into blood. He's doing miracle after miracle. Do we have a shaykhs to that? Sure, you don't have a shaykhs. You're never going to be a novi like Moshe Rabbeinu. You're not going to speak to the Eibishter, but you know you have a shaykhs to. Look at the lesson of the Mateh. The Mateh reminds us, you're right, but etzem, superficially, you look at, what do I need it for? And just have Moshe Rabbeinu perform. No, Klal Yisrael, I want you to glean that all-important message. You're going to look l'dorei doros when you tell over the story of Mitzrayim, and you know that all the miracles happen via the medium, the conduit of what? Of something that was an Eitz Yavesh, something that was a domain, the lowest of the low. And look what this Dover Gashmi was able to accomplish. What do you see? You can have a Chayfetz, that's a Dover Gashmi B'yoser, and at the same time it's a Dover Ruchni B'yoser. I must say, that's what? Adam Eitz HaSodeh. What is Adam Eitz HaSodeh? The whole idea of the man is what? You're a Dover Gashmi, you're a Dover Ruchni, you're Mafli Lasos, the Torah Chaim. You're the greatest pel in the world. You're a chatzi, gashmi chatzi. You have a neshama that's kula ruchni, that's joined, fused, merged into what? Into a davar that's gashmi. You are Eitz Yavesh. You are something. How you say? What am I going to do? Adam Eitz HaSodeh. You're quasi ruchni and you're quasi gashmi. The Mateh Lefinius 90, that's the symbol of every yid coming out of Mitzrayim. You think you're the lowest of the low. You can go from the lowest to the low and you can become the highest of the high. You can be a dover that superficially, it's an Eitz Yavesh, it's a domain, and it can go and produce the greatest miracles. It can be quasi ruchni, quasi gashmi. That's what every yid is. The chelik aguf and the chelik neshama. And every yid is capable of wonders. Every yid is capable of oset pel davar b'shchina. Famous of Yaakov Kamenetsky. Based on that, every single person is capable of being what? Everyone can be a tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu. Everyone can get the Gevaldige Dargis. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Tonin V'Eliyahu per Chafei. Maseh Yigam Maseh Maseh Avosi Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. What? Oh my! Adam Eitz HaSodeh. I'm a little Eitz. You're a little Eitz. What was the Mateh Moshe? It was just a piece of wood. A piece of wood. That what? That was a davar gashmi b'yoser. That was simultaneously a davar ruchni b'yoser. Something that was so poshet, so domain-like, was also capable of doing miracles. Kulo legamri l'mayla min hateva. That's the lesson of Klal Yisrael. Look at the Mateh Elokim biyodi. It's a Mateh, but it's a Mateh Elokim at the same time. Look at what every yid is capable of accomplishing, doing as well. Have a wonderful night and a good